Good morning guys, welcome back here at Gaming from the Artificial. Now today it's finally time to clean up that 47 unit server rack with all its cable management. So as I explained yesterday, keep watching the video and I see you guys very soon. Alright peeps, so as I explained yesterday, it's time today to clean up the 47 unit server rack, and I only have a few other things to do. I have in the first case to take the 3 Ethernet cables out, and then I'm gonna shut off the complete system. Now the remote of mine, which I'm actually shutting off everything with one button, is currently not really working, so I do it via the main power supply. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Closing it up, because in the front over here is nothing that we can do anymore. So we go to the back and shut everything off. So I'm walking to the back and power off the system. Damn, that sounds like a jet engine is turning off. Alright. So, I'm gonna take a cup of coffee, I'm gonna take myself a cigarette, and let's dive straight into this and clean it up. Let's go. So now I had everything gathered, and it was time to power off and took all the cables out of all systems. I first took all the cables of the streaming server out, and I was unscrewing the 2 unit fan over there so I could take the antenna out of my receiver. It was a lot of a mess doing it upstairs, especially if something was up there. So I planned out to make it a little bit higher, so that's what I did. Took all the cables out that were currently in there, all USBs, all HDMIs, all displays, and making sure that everything was laying on side. So once that was done, it was finally time to do some things inside the case to make sure I could continue completely. Making that thing a little bit higher was a little trick. The power rail I had to do with a leg and a hand. Wasn't that easy as I thought it would go. But once the second zip wire was in there, it was fine, and I was able to do the third one without holding something. So once I did that, it was time to put some cables back and connecting everything. Obviously I was working from the top to the bottom, because that is also how my power, how everything goes. So as example, the 2 switches are in the upper 2 units, and beneath that one is already the first receiver. So once that one was done, it was time to do some other cable management, which took me a lot of time, but yeah, I get there. Looks like I was showing myself too much, but okay. So there I was a little bit struggling around with the cable from my streaming server and gaming server.
However, it was a very unique option if you don't have that special cable management rail that is meant for 47 unit racks. So I made from zip wires a little storage, so I could store the cables behind that, which actually looks pretty good. Once the cables are behind it, you actually can't see it anymore, so that's very nice. Now some cables were a little bit of massive to do, but most of them are not. Most of them are quite easy, such as the streaming server. However, it was a large cable, so. Now the next one, of course, was doing the switch, I believe, and making my way to the top, because that was the other longest. It was okay to do, but to get on the top was a little bit difficult, but I managed to get there. Well, suddenly it was time to do the other one. So, once the time has come, the most difficult part was coming. That's the huge blue cable which I was working with. Is audio. Audio was actually a little bit struggling around, as you can see. It took me lots of time to do that. To do it properly, at least. So, wiring everything against the chassis of the 47 unit server rack. So there I was doing with my nail, so I had to get rid of that because I was stuck in the case actually. So once the cable was in its place, it was time to wire everything with the zip wires, which I believe only for the blue cable I used 20 or 30 zip wires, so there are plenty much of them. I took myself a cup of coffee, of course, which you can see already. Hard working, belongs a cup of coffee. So once that one was done, I was going down and making my way actually up from the right of the chassis, which was okay to do. Now that one was a little bit struggling part, because getting beneath and between the mixer and the rail itself is pretty difficult, because I don't have the smallest fingers. And making sure that everything was lined up nicely. So once that one was done, I was trying to take the other cable. I was looking up there. So, time to do the cable of the first receiver. Already connecting it, so I could be sure how the cable was going to, and I saw that it was pretty large. So I had a big merge actually. Had a big march of cable management to do, so that was very good. I like that. So I actually triple timed the. So I had from one cable, I made the triple actually. So it is way better to manage, and I only have to use one zip wire instead of 3. Was pretty easy to do, so I could easily access it. So I also connected that with the receiver down, and as you can see a little bit, it was nice. So the next part was doing the streaming server, connecting every cable that I had. So, was a little bit struggling around because these cables were pretty stiff. they are not the smallest ones, so making sure that every cable that is laying near the 47 unit rack is correctly and comes in on the sides. I don't want that all cables are in the mid of the case. I want them on the sides, of course, which are the zip wires making from. Alright, it was time to do the second one, which was the USB, I believe. And then I still recognized a Ethernet cable, and I had to do a display port, which was a little bit more trickier to do. It took me lots of time to do this. Really, in real time it was 2.5 hours, so you can imagine how long it took me to do this. Now I was making sure that the patch cable was not coming into the fence, and of course I took again some zip wires and tightening it up. So I saw there was the display cable, which I forgot. Otherwise I would took it with one zip wire, so I had to do it with another one. I was looking how should I do it. And then we have my last patch cable, which really just on 10 centimeters, 5 centimeters, just did it. It took me really less space. If I was only one unit down, it didn't fit anymore, so I had lots of luck there. So, but still I decided to pick a black cable instead of the red one and put the red one in the storage server. So I was 100% sure that I could still wiggle around with it. And that looked pretty good. It worked completely well. So also, as you can see, I lay the cables above the 2-unit fan. I lay them actually behind it. And still, I was making my way to the front and wiring it up. So this was a little trick, and I was also getting a little bit nervous, but I had lots of issues with the terminals, how they call it, banana terminals, and making sure they fit, because they are actually somehow 2.5 up to 4 millimeters, while the banana terminal entrance is the same size, so that makes it difficult. Now my phone dropped there, so I had to do it again. Finally I get used to it and I got them in there, so I was really happy that one was finally fixed. So making sure that also the cables from the banana terminals, that they were on the chassis. And there you can see the final results. As you can see, guys, it is nice on the sides. No more cables in the mid. Nicely managed, as it should be. Also, as you can see, everything is looking perfectly. I can touch everything. I can do everything I want without any difficulties. So if you like this video, guys, please give it a like, please give it a subscribe, and I hope you guys really like it to see this video. And this was Gaming from the Heart Official. See you guys the next time.